Hello, everyone. I'm Marissa Semkiw in for Michael Korn tonight. Have you heard of Raif Badawi? In all the news of the terrorist attacks of the last week, you might have missed his name. Badawi is a blogger, a thinker, a founder of a liberal website devoted to freedom of speech. His posts are sometimes satirical, sometimes bold. Bold insofar as he, among other things, calls for open debate about interpretations of Islam, especially in today's climate when ISIS is running around slaughtering people in the name of Islam. You'd hope such a debate would be welcome, but not in the Saudi kingdom. See, Mr. Badawi, a self-professed Muslim man, was sentenced to 10 years in prison and 1,000 lashes for encouraging such a debate in Saudi Arabia. He should be in Quebec, where his wife and 3 kids reside after having fled the kingdom 2 years ago. Instead, over a period of 20 weeks, an officer will beat Badawi with a cane 50 times each time until he's been flogged a total of 1,000 times. Here he is last Friday, receiving the first 50 of those lashes. As you can imagine, the video is unpleasant, so please watch with discretion. Every week for the next 20 weeks, this is what Raif Badawi will be forced to endure, and he is hardly alone. Lashings, stonings, public beheadings, corporal amputations are all too commonplace in Saudi Arabia. They hate Christians, they hate Jews, atheists. They're the non-believers, you see. They also hate Shiite and Sunni Muslims who don't adhere to the strictest and most puritanical form of Sunni Islam, not unlike that which is practiced by the Islamic State. Apostasy is what it's called, and it's also subject to death. They commit this violence all in the name of Sharia law, and yet the West is silent. Sure, Obama's called on the Saudis to cancel the punishment of Raif Badawi, and the Saudis rolled their eyes. We rightly condemn ISIS for its brutality, and then there are our allies who are nearly as bad, and we do nothing about it. How can you take a stand against the attacks in Paris without taking a stand against what's going on in Saudi Arabia? Some might argue, well, though the Saudis adhere to a hardline application of Sharia law, they aren't expansionist like ISIS and therefore pose no threat to the West. They're not really bothering us, right? Wrong. For the last 3 decades, Saudi Arabia has poured around an estimated $100 billion into exporting their version of Wahhabism, the intolerant, puritanical form of Islam espoused by the Saudi state. You'll recall that 15 of the 19 9/11 hijackers were Saudi. Now, I'm not saying that the Saudi government told these men to fly planes into the buildings of the United States, but it's not a coincidence that these men were raised in Saudi Arabia. In 2003, a U.S. Senate Committee on Terrorism found that the Saudis had financed over 1,500 mosques, 210 Islamic centers, 202 Islamic colleges, and 2,000 madrasas, or religious schools, globally. You can arguably draw a line between some of the terrorist attacks we've seen in the West and Saudi funding. For instance, the Saudis dispatched Wahhabist clerics and preachers to places like Chechnya, where the 2 Boston bombers hailed from. Chechens previously didn't practice an ultra-conservative strain of Islam, but that changed. Pakistan is destabilized in part because of the Saudis. Again, they exported their version of Islam, and now Pakistan is far more extreme than it was 40 or 50 years ago. Nigeria never used to be a hotbed of Islamic terrorism. Now they have the murderous Boko Haram. Saudi funding has, in many cases, resulted in a culture and environment of extremism and the development of the jihadist threat we face today, including the rise of ISIS. There are Wahhabi mosques in Canada, like the Al Sunna Wahhabi Mosque in Montreal, famously visited by Justin Trudeau. Think about that. The Saudi brand of Islam is being practiced in some parts of Canada. Now, this all started in the 1970s, when the country's oil wealth began growing at an exponential rate. The world buys their oil, and they return the favor by exporting their extreme version of Islam to the rest of the world. Some deal. Why are we allies with such a country? One word: oil. Oil is a global commodity, and Saudi Arabia is the largest oil producer. So even though North America might be less dependent on foreign oil than before, The price is dictated by global supply and demand. The U.S. imports over 800,000 barrels per day from the Saudis. Canada, by the way, still imports nearly 98,000 barrels per day to Eastern Canada. Perhaps we should, build a pipeline to take Western Canadian oil to Eastern Canada. Other parts of the world are even more dependent on the Saudis for their oil. Now, if a chunk of the Middle East oil production were to be taken offline, for instance, say through an embargo or sanctions, we would see a major spike in global oil prices, a cause that would cause a devastating and destabilizing ripple effect, which is all the more reason why increasing global supply in the oil market is so important, why fracking for shale gas is so important, why passing Keystone XL is so important, so that the West can finally take a stand for those in Saudi Arabia and around the world who are abused at the hands of oil tyrants and stop indirectly funding the spread of Islamic radicalization. If only such a basic concept wasn't lost on the radical environmentalist that sits in the Oval Office at the White House.